That's a good sign. Thank you very much. It's in my eye line, that's annoying. It'll be fine. Hello. This is Activism Made Simple. My name is Jessica Hay. Some people call me Simple. It's a name I came up with on the internet when I was a 12-year-old boy. The best decisions are often made by 12-year-old boys, so I thought I'd stick with it. Don't ask me to spell it. I have a YouTube account called Simply Go Vegan. I have an Instagram account called Simply Go Vegan. They're both set up trying to get people to do activism and to try and realize that activism isn't that scary, and it's something that's really good for you. I'm here today as an organizer for We the Free. We the Free is a street activism organization that try and do sort of good, effective activism on people who are walking around in the street. I've only been an organizer for 3 months, and I've only been doing activism for 8 months. But this morning I got up and I went for a run. I did a park run in a vegan runner's vest. And I didn't care. I just felt brave and strong and wonderful. Tomorrow I'm getting on a train and I'm going to Manchester, and I'm organising an event in another city that isn't my city because someone told me to do it, and I can do it. I'm capable of doing it. I've not always been doing this, obviously. I've only been doing it for 8 months. My first ever activism event was in February of this year. I showed up in Leeds City Centre and I went to AV. It was my first event as a girl. It was my first time asking people to call me Jessica. It was my first event doing anything brave, really. And they didn't ask me why I was the way I was. They didn't ask me, what I needed to do for them. They just saw me as I was and treated me wonderfully, and I felt safe and I felt great, and it was wonderful. They didn't really trust me to do activism. Even though I'd watched all the videos, they were like, maybe we need to induct you first. So I had a lovely conversation with the person who ran it for about half an hour before, thankfully, enough people came that she had to go and do activism. And I turned around and I spoke to a pig farmer. And my first ever activism conversation was with an Italian pig farmer who spoke no words of English whatsoever. And the lady who was with him translated for him. And I talked to him through her. And after about 10 minutes of talking to him, he gave up on the conversation entirely, and I just talked to the lady who was with him. And after 10 minutes more, she was crying in the street. And that was my first ever activism conversation I have ever had. At the end of that, we went for a meal together, and I sat in a restaurant with like 15 other vegans, and I'd never done that before. And I learned that this was a thing that you get if you do activism. You get to meet other vegans and sit in a vegan space and just meet your community. And I said to them, when can I next do this? Like, where do I get this next? And they said, you've got to wait a month. And I was like, no, I don't want to wait a month. Where do I go? And they were, when we think someone in Manchester is doing something. So I got on a train the following weekend and I went to Manchester and I found We the Free. I found We the Free Manchester, and I realised that they do exactly the same thing. It's a different name, it's a different way of doing it, but it's just as wonderful and it's the same community. And at the end of that, I said, hey, where can I do this next week? And they went, where are you from? And I said, I'm from Leeds. And they went, there's a We the Free in Leeds. Why did you come all the way to Manchester? So the next week I went to Leeds and I did We the Free Leeds. And after that, I went to York and I did We the Free York. And I went to Whitby and I did We the Free Whitby. And I went to Leicester and I did We the Free Leicester. And I went to Birmingham and I did a collaboration in Birmingham. And then I went to an animal rights march in London. And 2 months ago, my regional organizer, wonderful person at the front, said to me, hey Jess, why aren't you organising events? And I said, I don't know if I can organise events. And she said, sure you can. We want you to run an international vegan chalking day. And I went, okay, I don't have activism that weekend, I'll do that. And I went and I did that, and that was my first event. That was my first ever organising event. And I didn't think I could be an organiser. I didn't think I could be an activist. I didn't think I could do any of this. And I was just doing it. I was just going out there and doing it. 2 months ago, again, I got invited to be an organiser for Leeds. Not just a random pop-up organiser, but an official, be an organiser. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, I can probably do that. And now I am the organiser for Leeds. Leeds is the oldest We the Free activist activism organisation in the UK. It is the first one. It is 3 years old on the 9th of December. And I am part of running that. And that is amazing. And I never thought I could do that. As I said, tomorrow I'm getting on a train. I'm running my first solo event is tomorrow in Manchester. So if anyone fancies a trip, come see me 1 p.m. in Manchester. But I wasn't always like this. If we go back 10 months, I was a boy first. I wasn't a girl. I wasn't Jessica. And I didn't have any self-confidence. I didn't think that I could stand on the street and talk to people about veganism. I didn't have any friends. I didn't have anything on my CV. I didn't really have anything. And I didn't think, if you showed me who I was now, I wouldn't think I could do that. I wouldn't think, oh yeah, I can do that. I would think no. But I did. And I did it because I had to do it. And by going and doing it and sort of exposing myself to it and having faith that maybe I can do it, I've learned that you don't need to be an amazing person to do activism. You just need to show up and do as much as you can. And the more you do, the more you're exposed to and the better you get at it and the more confidence you get, and it just sort of snowballs. You don't have to go in being amazing at it. You don't have to show up being good at making vegans. You don't have to make the first person you speak to cry in the street. That will all come the more you're here. The more you do it, the better you get at it, the more confident you are. And that's the main thing people say to us is, I don't think I could do that. I don't think activism's for me. I don't think I could convince people. But at Activism we have people who do nothing but hold TV screens. We have a guy in York who's been coming for yonks. I have no idea how long he's been coming. Never has a conversation. But he's a member of the community and he's just as valuable, because when I go to an event, I don't want to hold a TV screen. I want to stand up and talk to people. And it's people who come and do non-verbal roles, or roles that other people don't think will be appreciated, that are really, really valuable, and you're still a part of the community, and you're still just as welcome, and you're still able to come to the socials at the end of it, and spend time with your community who will embrace you for being vegan. So I've told you who I am now, and I've told you who I was. Now I suppose I'll tell you the benefits of activism. Because there are a lot of benefits to activism. And I don't really like telling people that they should do activism, because I think you already know what you should do because you're all vegan. Right? So I'm going to tell you the benefits. So the first benefit we're going to skip right across because you're all vegan. So you know the first benefit. The first benefit is making vegans, which is really great. Reduced animal suffering, wonderful. But we already know that. So the second benefit, and the benefit I really, really sell people for, is the community. Most vegans don't really have much in the way of friends. You know, the moment you become vegan, you realize that it's hard spending time with people anymore, because if they're not vegan, there's this wall between you. You go vegan in a bubble, and you for whatever reason you've gone vegan, you find yourself sort of alone and isolated, and you don't know how to find other vegans. Activism is the cheat. If you go to Activism, everyone there is vegan. Everyone there is committed to veganism, and at the end of it, almost every single event I've ever been to, we go to a restaurant and we sit down and we have that meal, and then you get invited to other events. You get invited to sanctuary visits. You get invited to vegan running clubs. You get invited to social events at, I don't know, wall climbing or Christmas dinners, or you end up at people's birthday parties, you end up at people's weddings. Wherever you end up, you get invited to the community. The number two benefit of the number three benefit of veganism is a sense of changing the world, which I think is the main reason that activism has made me the person I was, is because that person back there didn't think they could change the world. They didn't think they had the ability to make the world better. I used to sit on the internet typing to people about how angry I was that they weren't vegan, but I didn't feel like I was making any difference. Now I go to activism events and I have seen like 4 or 5 adult humans cry in the street because of words that I've said to them while pointing at a screen. And they've promised me that they're going to go vegan, and they've promised me that they're going to make a change in their lives that reduces animal suffering, and they've promised me that are now better people, and that they're glad that I helped them do that. Because every vegan we ever speak to, they wish they'd gone vegan sooner. Right? Every vegan we ever spoke to feels bad, usually, about the animals that they used to eat before they were vegan. Right? So if you can help people get to that step sooner, think about how much suffering you're reducing in those humans as well as those animals, right? If you think of the person who made you vegan, some of us it's ourselves, but some of it's a person. Some of us have one person that made us vegan. If you think about that person, how much do you like that person? That person is a person we carry with us our whole lives. The person who helped us get to the place we want to be. For some people out in the world now, I am that person. I am the person who made them cross the line. When they think about, veganism as a whole and like their journey, I am the person who shows up in their head. Right? I am the person who stands in the street dancing. We just watched a talk about how to become a badass. I'm here. I go out in the street every single Saturday and I wear stupid clothes so people look at me, and I dance and I get them to talk to me, and then when I talk to them I give them a real hard lesson about their lives and about who they could be and about who they should be. And I've never been proud of myself. I've never felt as much as a badass, because I am. Activism is the route to badass. That is what it will give you. And the third benefit, we are frustrated. We live in a world where people do not follow the ethics that we would like them to. They do not follow the moral compass that we are on, the moral path we're on. And they don't know that, right? And when we sit down at, a family event, or when we're at the bus stop and someone's eating a chicken sandwich, or wherever we are, we want to say it. We want to say, hang on a minute, do you know you're eating animals, mate? But we can't. At work, we can't. Some of us can, but most of us can't. And these frustrations build up. And we wish we could keep telling our family, why are you doing this? But it doesn't work, right? And we need to be able to release those frustrations in a way that works. And activism does work. Because having a conversation with your loved ones about whether or not they should be the way they are, or having a conversation with a complete stranger about whether they should be the way they are two completely different conversations. One of them you don't have to hold back. One of them you don't have to worry about their feelings. You don't have to worry about being in a room with them later. You don't have to worry about how awkward it'll make Boxing Day if you spend all of Christmas dinner telling them they shouldn't be eating animals. Right? So you can be your full potential with a random stranger. And you can have conversations that you couldn't have with your family, and you can get that frustration out in a meaningful, useful, efficient way, which is a benefit you don't really get if you don't do activism away from your family and away from your safe spaces. Those are the three big benefits of activism. So now we talk about how, where, and what activism we can do. So I forgot to say, I don't know if I said it or not, I don't have notes. Whoops. This morning at 9 a.m. I was in a park doing park run in a vegan runner's jersey. That is activism. If you go out of your way to put yourself in a space in public, do something sorry, swearing. Do something impressive whilst being vegan, that's activism. Walking around your life just being vegan in a passive, sort of nonchalant way, I don't think is activism. But when you go out and you sort of stamp it in people's faces and you say, look, I am amazing and I am vegan, that's activism. And you can do that in loads of ways. You can do vegan runners. You can come and join us at We the Free, and if anyone does want to join us at We the Free, please come and sign up. I do it in Leeds, Manchester, and a bunch of other places, so no matter where you're from, I probably know you're a group organizer. You can do it at AV, where I started. They have a different approach. Some people say it's better for new people because they give you a script to follow. You can do Animal rising. If you want to go and steal puppies from puppy mills, you can do that. If you want to go to a vigil, there's pig saves where you can go and you can stand outside of slaughterhouses with signs that say, you know, pigs are killed here. You can do that, although that is really stressful and traumatic, but it's activism. You know, you can do anything. You can do Food Not Bombs even. They give vegan food to homeless people. And if you go to Food Not Bombs and you give vegan people food to homeless people, surprise, surprise, you run into either other vegans or people who are very, very vegan adjacent. And if you're there being a vegan, talking about vegan things, they're probably going to join you as vegans. But the most important thing is you go outside of your house for a little bit of time every week to find your community and to find people who are really, really close to veganism and just give them that last little push to be vegan. Because we're in a room full of people who are vegan, but a tiny amount of us are activists. And the reason that most people aren't activists is because they don't know how, or they don't think they can. But I've just told you how, and I've also just told you can. So please do. And I have no idea how long my speech was. But if anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask. Thank you. I'm going to go stand over there. If anyone has any questions, come find me.